Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Stock Market Show. This is your host, Shades. I was about to say, this is Judge Shades. Court is in session. Please rise for the Honorable Rigetti. No, I'm kidding, guys. I finally took a look into the holdings, what stocks make up the QTUM Defiance Quantum ETF. And you'll notice, I want you to take note what's at the top. RGTI, followed by QBTS and IONQ. The top three in this ETF, RGTI with a 2.94%, ETF weight followed by QBTS at 2.9, and then IONQ actually they're holding less than 2%. And so they hold more. Interesting to note that they hold way more of QBTS and RGTI compared to IONQ. But then again, IONQ is a little more expensive, right? It's like $40 a piece. Either way, they hold way more RGTI and QBTS than IONQ. And here's the best part: if you don't want to deal with the volatility that comes with owning one specific stock, you can buy the ETF, which gives you essentially exposure to all the quantum computing stocks and its movement. But just note that at the very top, RGTI, that's the one that they love so much that they bought way more of that one compared to the other ones. So I just wanted to show you that, like, it's, isn't it funny? Someone out there was like, hey, we're going to make this stock right here, RGTI, is looking good compared to the other ones. Let's add more of that. That has more potential. Apparently QBTS as well. IonQ, I mean, they're the top three here in the ETF. Now, if we look at the actual price movement of the quantum computing ETF, I think it's important to keep track of quantum computing as a whole. I get that RGTI right now specifically is, it had a nice little 13% plus push, but always look at the quantum sector as a whole and see how it's performing. Right now, we're going sideways. We've been going sideways for the past 3 days now. We've been going sideways here, and we don't know whether we're going to go up or down. That's the beauty of it. Right now, the only reason this one is probably not a big red candle is because RGTI, as I just showed you, it makes up a good portion of the ETF. It's at the very top, and it's green. COSQ, I don't think it holds COSQ in it. It only holds RGTI IonQ because they have good fundamentals, and QBTS because they have good fundamentals and revenues, which makes sense, right? If you're going to have an ETF, you're not going to put something that's not proven. So it makes sense that the QTUM ETF is moving the way it is, just going sideways. Looks like it might go lower. But with regards to RGTI itself, I would watch for that breakout. We need that breakout above. Fortunately, we need that breakout above 18 now. That's twice we've touched 1824 and gotten pushed down. But this does look like a bull flag here. So I'm watching for the breakout. Where's the breakout on this? In order for this to go higher, we have to break out and go to 20 plus, which it's capable of this. Again, you look at the quantum sector today, and you got green, green, and more green. Buyers are stepping in. Buyers are showing up finally, which is what you want to see. I'm also indecisive. I'm like, do I want to buy RGTI? I like RGTI. That's the one I want to buy. Or do I buy the quantum ETF? Again, you look at the quantum ETF on the quarterly, it just keeps going higher and higher over the long term. Any pullback is nothing more than an opportunity to add cheap. And this reminds me very much of Nvidia. Nvidia, when it first started, it was moving the same way. It was going higher over the long term, but there was some pullbacks. There was the financial crash of 2008. That doesn't help either. And quantum computing, we know that's the future. And you have to believe in that. Just like people back then had to believe in Nvidia, had to believe in the technology. And look where we are now. And you can see the performance here. Long term, since 2018, this thing just continues to go higher and higher. So I'm kind of indecisive because I'm like, do I go with the ETF that gives me exposure to the quantum sector, or do I just stick with RGTI? There's a give and take. I'm probably going to make less gains with the ETF versus buying a specific stock, having an actual stock pick, because these can move much more. The ETF is only up 15.15%, whereas RGTI 11%. This is another quantum computing stock here, 28%. So it's kind of a give and take there. So yeah, I'm just indecisive. I'm like, what do I do? But I think ultimately I'm gonna go with RGTI just because there's just more potential per per share. Yeah, per share in terms of gains and percentage wise. Is remember, there's all these quantum computing stocks, but probably only one or two of them are going to be winners, right? AMD and Nvidia. You look at their return long term. Let's just make that comparison here. AMD and Nvidia, same sector, right? AMD and Nvidia stock. Let me type in Nvidia. Let me type in. There we go. AMD stock. And I just want to look at the max returns since its existence. And let's go to Nvidia and let's put in the max return. So, right, like you look at the difference, right? They're both, they both create chips, right? But isn't it odd and interesting? Well, it's not odd, but it's interesting, right? If you think about it for a second. Wait, back then they were both cheap, but ultimately, who brought in the bigger gains? It was Nvidia. 343,304%. Think about that for a second. 340, let's round that up, 345,000% return. Whereas AMD only has brought in, all time has only brought in 583%. So, despite both of them being in the same sector, creating chips and all that, one of them turned out to be the bigger winner, right? One of them still gave you much more return compared to the other one. I mean, the people who held AMD, they still made their money, right? But just significantly less percentage wise, right? So I'm just making that comparison because back then they were like about the same share price. They were just getting started, and look where they are now. So long term, there's gonna be some winners, there's gonna be some losers, and there's gonna be one or two that stand out and that are able to bring you some decent returns. But one of them is really going to be the one that stands out in quantum computing, and that one's going to be the one that makes you a lot of money long term. That's what I believe. And yeah, I'm not going to go too deep into my portfolio, but I am looking to add quantum exposure via RGTI at this point. And I'm probably going to remove MAGs because MAGs is, yeah, you get exposure to the, magnificent seven. But I think, you know what? I'm gonna take this one out and replace it with either the QTUM ETF or more than likely RGTI. That's what I'm thinking. I need that quantum exposure at this point in my portfolio. So there you go. I just told you my portfolio and why I have that diversity, right? Real estate. You got the Bitcoin exposure via the ARC-B ETF. You got metals, silver, and gold, and Nvidia for tech. And now I'm looking to add some quantum computing. I was holding SoundHound long term and Serve Robotics, but I rebalanced it. I got rid of that, sold it at a profit, got rid of that, and we'll see what AI stock I add in the future, because I am looking to add one more. Like I need an AI stock, although technically Nvidia is an AI stock. It gives exposure to AI stocks in the sense that they develop the chips, so and everyone's buying from them. So we'll see. We'll see what I do, but I think a good portfolio that has some AI, some quantum computing, some Bitcoin exposure via the ETFs, some real estate exposure via the REITs or REITs or however you want to say them. And the gold and silver is just for fun because you can physically hold the gold and silver in your hands. Like it feels good to hold like 10 ounces or 5 ounces of silver or gold in your hands. Like you can't physically hold RGTI shares, right? Think about that for a second. When's the last time you held shares in your hand? Being able to physically hold your, well, yeah, quote unquote, your ounces, I guess, it feels good. It's like, whoa, like I can physically hold it, right? I wish we could hold physical shares. I'd be like, hey, bro, look at me, 1,000 shares right here, right? Look at this fat stack of shares, but we don't live in those times. I think back then they gave what, certificates? Anyways, I've rambled for too long. I'm bullish on quantum computing long term. I'm looking at Rigetti and the QTUM ETF to hold long term and replace my not my ARC-B. This is the ARC-B I was talking about. Mags. I'm looking to get Mags out of there. I already pretty much, I in a way already have Mags via Nvidia, right? So I'm getting rid of that one. and it doesn't move. It doesn't have that much potential. It's an ETF. I think quantum replacement here. So yeah, that's my decision that I've come down to. So let me know what you guys think. Why are you adding quantum computing to your portfolio, and why? And and what do you see? Because I might see things that you don't, and you might see things that I don't. But ultimately, long term, we're all going to be winners. Uh, but it's going to come down to, you know, which one is going to be the biggest winner. I want that 300,000%. Just for fun. Like, hey guys, I bought RGTI back when it was at 17 and went to 1,000, then came back down to 100 after a stock split, forward stock split, rinse and repeat, right? We're in early, and I think a lot of people who are patient and disciplined are going to be the ones who benefit the most. And I hope you have a diverse portfolio. I hope you're not just, I'm just going to put everything into one quantum computing stock. I hope it's diversified like mine. All right, guys. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. I will see you in the next one.